interesting video today. We've actually gotten a lot of comments on this topic.
Yeah, it's interesting that people actually ask us this question, but I see why.
It's a fair question.
It is a fair question.
So we get asked a lot, like, from people who obviously don't backpack a lot or don't even camp really.
And they're interested in getting into it.
Right, and it's really simple. Like, how do you get used or comfortable to the idea of not sleeping with a roof over your head? Because it is weird at first, definitely. So we're gonna talk tips, tricks, how do you get comfortable with sleeping outside with the critters?
Yep. Okay, so we're just gonna get this one out of the way.
The obvious tip.
The obvious tip. If it's your first night out backpacking or camping or whatever, bring a sleep aid with you. ZzzQuil, Benadryl, melatonin, just
Alcohol?
I guess.
If it's legal where you're going. We call this drug yourself, but a more PC way to say it, you just take a sleep aid.
Yeah.
If you can and you physiologically can handle that and do that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like if that's something you are allowed and able to take, you're gonna have a bad night your first night. I'm sorry. It's just there's no way around it. So just make it a little bit easier on yourself.
So in line with that, another tip, and this is pretty common in backpacking circles, try and really exert yourself during the day so that you're tired.
Yeah, get yourself, accomplish something.
Yeah, and if for anything else, for getting a good hike and stuff, you want to be at least a little bit exhausted. It's just gonna help you go to sleep easier.
Yeah.
It'll make the sleeping conditions, more in your favor. So just, for us, that's like making sure on a real day we do a solid minimum of 10 miles, depending on elevation. But there is really no better feeling than getting to camp, getting everything set up, and then just sitting in that camp chair and feeling like the warm wave of exhaustion come over you and just knowing you're gonna sleep better because of it.
Yep.
So this is a pretty common tip that if you ask backpackers, they'll say, but just exert yourself enough, and that's relative to your fitness level, so that you're a little exhausted at camp.
Yeah, you ever wonder how through hikers do a whole through hike?
They're just tired the whole time.
Sleeping on like those little Z-light pads.
Yeah, they're tired.
Just exhausted.
They do 20-mile days.
This one especially affects you.
Yeah, this one gets me. So, and it really only got me when I started winter backpacking. So a big deal for me, and probably for other people, especially getting out in their first time, is ambient noise. I cannot sleep if it's dead quiet.
Yeah.
So, and I learned that when we went winter backpacking. And if you ever go winter or late fall backpacking or really early spring, at night,
it is dead quiet.
Literally dead quiet, like zero noise. And that means if you hear a little mouse scurrying around,
sounds like a bear.
It sounds like a bear.
A little cricket in the leaves, that sounds like a bear.
And it's not so much scary, it's just annoying and irritating.
Yeah.
So a couple things. One, if you are gonna go, and this is what I do, if I'm gonna go somewhere where I know there's not gonna be any ambient noise, first I try and find a camping spot that's by a creek or a stream or something. That's the best, actually.
Yeah.
If that doesn't exist, I used to try earplugs. I'm not a huge fan of earplugs. I'll actually play white noise on my phone, or depending on if I'm sleeping in a hammock or a tent, I'll wear headphones. Now that's only when there is zero ambient noise. So that's really only winter backpacking. Usually, I actually really like the sound of bugs in the summer. That's actually puts me to sleep better than sleeping in my house. But the tip here is be weary of ambient noise and go somewhere during the time of year where there's going to be some noise around you. You know, most people like a noise generator or something like that.
Yeah, it is really weird when it's just dead quiet in the middle of the night.
I hear like the faint ringing in my ears.
Yeah.
And it's really creepy. I don't like it at all.
No.
So yeah, just be wary of ambient noise and maybe bring earplugs or, play white noise from your phone or something if that gets you when you're sleeping.
Yep. All right, next tip, and we were thinking about this too, and since this video is about like not only sleeping but just being comfortable in the woods, like this is an obvious one, but we'll put it out there anyways. Go with people.
Yeah.
Go with people. There are plenty of cool, awesome stories out there of people who start their first backpacking trip and do solos, which is awesome. But if you're a little bit weary about doing it, just go with people. There's lots of different meetups. There's lots of different groups on social media that you can join to so you don't have to be alone out there.
Piggybacking on what Andy was talking about in terms of going with people.
Yeah.
There's kind of a counterpoint to that, in that some of the worst and creepiest backpacking experiences we have ever had have been when we have backpacked around other people. So it's like a point counterpoint, so just kind of know where you're going, and go with people but if you're in a group area or you're in a high traffic area where there's other people, there might be some weirdos out there, and we have had some bad run-ins with people, not like really bad, but like
just awkward.
Really awkward. And if it was my first night going backpacking, I'd be like, done. F this.
Yeah. This next point seems kind of obvious, but if you're getting into backpacking and you're a beginner backpacker, or you're putting together your gear, maybe you don't know how much you want to invest, but I will tell you, we always say invest in sleep. The more that you invest in high quality sleeping gear, the easier it will be on you, especially if you're new.
Invest in sleep.
Yeah, and I get that, you're new, you don't know exactly what how high a quality or how much money you want to spend on something that you're not really into. So I totally understand that. But if you have good sleeping gear, if you're on the ground, like a nice sleeping pad, if you're in a hammock, you have a nice hammock set up with a nice underquilt, you will sleep better. You will sleep better, just hands down. So the more you invest in sleep, the easier it will be, and it'll make you a little bit more comfortable out there. So
let's talk about critters and bugs and stuff. So
yeah, let's talk about
it. So if you talk to most people who have never camped or backpacked before, one of the biggest blockers to them doing that is insects, bugs.
That and using the bathroom.
And we'll get to that. Couple tips on insects. One, choose your time of the year strategically to avoid them.
And also where you're camping.
Yes, where you're camping and when you're camping. The first time you go out there, or if you're weird about bugs at all, just go camping where there aren't bugs. And I know that's difficult to do potentially, but you can go out late fall, early spring, somewhere that's not by standing water, somewhere where there's a breeze. And we've gone backpacking and haven't ever seen a bug before.
Maybe in the winter.
Yeah, or late fall.
Yeah.
So beware. Most people, insects, that's what's gonna get them, but you got bug spray, you got permethrin, you can go in certain times of the year. You can
mosquito netting.
You got mosquito netting, and you can kind of mitigate that whole thing. So just be smart about it, and bugs don't have to be a problem. The next thing I want to talk about is critters.
Yeah.
Critters are, and animals in general, it's impossible to avoid them, and you shouldn't try to avoid them. It's kind of part of the experience.
It's kind of weird if you don't have experience with animals, because that's kind of sad.
But having said that, a lot of the interactions you're going to have with animals, if it's not during the hike, it's going to be while you're sleeping.
Yep.
Which is creepy. But just know, if you're hearing stuff, it's probably a mouse or like a raccoon or something, or squirrels. I mean, squirrels are the biggest, most likely thing you're gonna run into. They're gonna be animals out there. Don't let it freak you out.
Yeah.
If you're in bear country, maybe your first time backpacking, don't go into bear country maybe.
Yeah, or
go with people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But just kind of get used to the fact that there are gonna be animals out there. Get used to it. They're not gonna harm you.
Yeah, we're far more worried about people.
People are way more worrisome than animals. The only thing with animals you have to worry about is your food. And you don't want a squirrel getting in your food bag and eating all your food or something like that. But there are going to be animals out there. Don't worry about it. Enjoy it. And be more worried about people.
Yeah. Just, I think it's I remember in Delhi Sides, we woke up in the middle of the night and you shine your light and there's a whole herd of deer.
Literally just standing right outside our hammocks, and it was very freaky,
and
but very cool.
They were very loud, and we're like, what is that?
Yeah.
And then you shine your light and you just see all the eyes light up, because that's the way deer eyes look in the middle of the night. And then there's just deer everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, it's not a bear trying to kill me.
Yeah, it's just a really annoying deer. In fact, where we live in the Midwest, deer are the most likely thing you're gonna see, deer and squirrels.
Yep.
So that's gonna wrap it up for us. In summary, how can you get more comfortable with sleeping in the woods? Take some sort of sleep aid and drug yourself. Tire yourself out. have a good sleeping setup.
Yeah.
Deal with noise, deal with animals,
Know who you're with.
know who you're with. And honestly, like, it is very cool sleeping in the woods. I mean, it's very cool to wake up. There's like some majestic animals or something. I don't know. It's a very cool experience.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are our tips to help you be comfortable, and don't let anything block you from going out in the woods and enjoying this, because it is pretty cool.
Yep.